Hi everyone. So tonight I'm going to discuss with you Kirsty Williams's speech from the debate around the curriculum bill on the 15th of December 2020. If you remember, we were outside on that day for that reason. We give our speeches and later in the evening they give theirs. RSE was a big part of that discussion. It also featured a big part of her speech at the end. Her speech was 7 minutes long. A lot of it focused on the RSE. So that's what I want to discuss with you now. We'll go through that because, as you know, they have launched a campaign against us for misinformation. So that's another thing we'll be addressing in it. I just want to point out that, the RSE draft, the curriculum, and the curriculum bill are three different things, okay, guys? Completely different things. So the RSE draft was something they drafted up to show people this is what it's going to be. This is what our RSE is going to look like. But in that draft, they said we had a parental opt-out. Also in that draft, they said on page 4 to refer to UNESCO, which is the global rollout, okay? Now, it's already in 52 countries, so how they're going to hide that, we don't know, okay? But it's going to be interesting to watch them try and smuggle that one past us, you know, it's 52 countries wide. So, yeah, so and then we've got the actual curriculum then, guys. Now, aspects of the curriculum haven't been designed yet. So the curriculum will be the lesson structure and contents and things like that, okay? Now, what you hear Kirsty mention quite clearly is it hasn't been designed yet. It won't be designed yet until 2022, but they want to push this bill through anyway, okay? So we move on to the curriculum bill. Now, the curriculum bill is just the legislation, okay? What the curriculum bill does, it mandates for RSE from age 3 to 16 with no parental opt-out. That's all it does, okay? It does nothing else. It doesn't tell you anything about the lesson content. It doesn't tell you nothing else, okay, guys? So all it is legislation will be passed for RSE from age 3 to 16 with no parental opt-out, okay, guys? So the four mandated subjects are, just to remind you, English, Welsh, RSE and RVE. RVE is religious values and ethics, and RSE is relationship, sex, education, okay? So those are the four mandated subjects. Please note the science is gone, and please note a lot of this discussion will centre around biology. Well, biology is science, okay? So their argument does not stand there either because they've taken away the element they keep arguing for, you know, reproductive organs and things like that. That all falls under biology, but that's something they've taken out. So let's just take a look at Kirsty's little performance. Oh, before I go any further, let me just point out one thing. Please don't be scared of her body language. We have a feeling her bark is a lot worse than her bite. And the reason why we know that is because Kirsty has never once responded back to us, okay? From our emails, she's had other people to respond to us. Even our posts on Twitter, she completely point blank ignores. So that's another thing to remember for later on in her speech when she says she doesn't mind taking it, but she's not having her colleagues take it. But we address that later on. So let's just have a look at what Kirsty had to say, shall we?
To the points that have been raised. Firstly, can I just reiterate my thanks to all the committees involved, but I think there should be a special shout out for the CYPE committee, because I think the report that they have produced, I don't agree with it all, but I think the quality of that report shows the importance of scrutiny in this particular Parliament, in this Senedd, and I'm very grateful for all the work that has gone into it. Now, a lot of the debates today have been about actually raising standards and closing the attainment gap. Let me be absolutely clear. A new curriculum is at the centre of that, but a curriculum on its own can't do all the heavy lifting. And that's why the curriculum is a part of a wider set of Welsh Government education reforms that focus on improvement in pedagogy, that focus on a reformed ITE programme, the largest single investment of professional learning that we have ever seen in the history of this Senedd, a revised accountability regime that drives the right kind of behaviours in our schools. So yes, absolutely, the curriculum is important, but please don't think that the curriculum alone can achieve these goals. It's part of a wider reform programme. I've talked about how we intend to address mental health, but I do think that having a duty to have regard for mental health and well-being when designing your curriculum, alongside the absolute necessity, the legal necessity to teach mental health and resilience in our schools, I think will take us a massive step forward. Mick Anthony talked about the huge amount of work that has gone in to looking at the issue of rights. And Darren Miller just described this bill as a conflict between the rights of parents and the rights of the state. Well, I tell you what, Darren, this is about moving rights, and it's about moving to children's rights and putting children's rights front and centre in how we educate them. And I will not apologise for that. I'm grateful to Susie Davis.
I just want to stop right there. Anyone that knows me knows I support children's rights. But do you notice Kirsty forgot to mention there the sexual rights? That's one thing they get desperate to keep from you guys, and I don't know why. You know, there must be a reason for it. They even removed it from our petition online, didn't they? Don't forget, guys, we got the emails to prove that. I might add it to this video.
And she and other members have raised the issue of how, at the moment, schools of a religious character are treated within the legislation. There is a discrepancy that does place extra burdens, and I, as I said in my opening remarks, intend to bring forward an amendment that will address that issue. Susie also talked about governors. And we've heard a lot from Darren Miller about parents. The local curricula within the school has to be agreed, first of all, has to be consulted with parents, and has to be agreed by a governing body. And the last time I looked, we had significant parental representation on our governing bodies. This is not a case where a parent is not going to have the opportunity. In fact, the parent will have more of an opportunity to talk about what is discussed and taught in their school than they currently have under the system, where it is previous governments that have dictated what is to be taught. So I would argue parents have a greater role and a greater voice in local curricula than they currently have at the moment.
So what do you think, guys? You know, the governors will have a say in it, so that gives you more of an opportunity. How many parents in a school compared to the amount of parents on a governing body? How many parents do you know that are actually school governors, guys? How much do you get the opportunity to tell them your problems? And I'll reach out to the additional needs community on this. How helpful are the governing bodies then, guys? And how many parents are on that system? So you tell me, guys, do you get more of a say this way by revoking your parental rights? Do you get more of a say over that curriculum by taking away your options? You've got the governors.
About RSE and address the issues that Caroline Jones raised.
Here we go, guys, here we go. Hands to the head. Now you watch the body language on this now. This is the show of the year.
I will not be moving from my position that we finally get rid of the anomaly that children can be prevented from attending certain subjects within their schools. Children have to, they must have access to information that keeps them safe from harm and allows them to navigate the world in which we live.
Before you gave this speech, you should have listened to ours, because you would have heard me quoting you. I quoted you outside. Number one safeguarding for these children. Your quote for number one was the change of name. So the change from PHSE to RSE is your number one safeguarding point in this. So thank you very much for giving these children the information that keeps them safe from harm. Let's go on to other issues, shall we? Information that keeps them safe from harm. We've got teachers in our schools which genuinely believe children can differentiate between good and bad secrets. Children can differentiate between good and bad touch because, I quote, abuse hurts. Right, so we've got children, they're expecting children to be able to disclose to teachers that have no idea what's going on, and they think they've been trained very, very well. Let's point out some other issues here, shall we? The sexual stimulation in 241 schools in England, guys. There is a barrier to disclosure there. We have provided these people with that. No one will address us on absolutely anything. There's a barrier to disclosure there. That comes from the global rollout from the United Nations. It's part of UNESCO, and it started in some schools as young as 4 in England just last year, okay, guys? So we also want to keep children safe. We're keeping children safe when these teachers can't spot barriers to disclosure. There is nothing in these documents for in-depth training, okay? Any training takes you back to the document they signed us up to, which is the World Health Organization document, okay? They signed us up to that in 2017. So you go back to that document, guys, and you have a look through that, because that's where they want to get the teachers training.
In the new curriculum, all children will have the right to access information that keeps them informed on these vital issues, to stay safe online, to know what's right and wrong, so that they can raise issues of concern with responsible adults and protect themselves if necessary.
And helps them stay safe online. Guys, there is no curriculum designed yet, so they can't even produce this with a package that they're using to keep children safe online. I bet they don't even know how long it takes to groom a child online. It would be interesting to put that question to them, but they just point blank ignore us.
Now, the member may be raising these issues with what she considers the best intentions. And I have to say to you, Caroline, I'm surprised that your constituents are bringing forward material that is going to be taught in this curriculum, because I've just been accused by other members saying that I haven't done enough work and the stuff isn't ready yet. So both things can't be true. The curriculum doesn't exist until 2022, and what you've been shown are not a focus of our new curriculum. They are not. Absolutely not.
Typical politics, isn't it, guys? No twists in 1 minute. They are saying that not enough work has been done on it, but she's saying then that, so, you know, we got some people saying not enough work has been done on it. She's admitted it's not been designed until 2022, and she's dumbfounded by the fact that Caroline Jones has actually seen some contents of it. Well, the thing is, it was in mainstream media about the sexual stimulation. It's also in mainstream media about the dice scheme in England. It's also in mainstream media about the homework dished out in England. And it's also, well, it hasn't been in mainstream media so much as it about Scotland. But what happens is we copy Scotland quite a lot. Scotland have printed their documents online. Thank you to Richard Lucas and the Scottish Family Party for going through their 100 lesson plans. So, you know, there's 100 lesson plans there that Caroline Jones has even looked at. That's without the 52 countries this is already in. So I think she's got a lot of catching up to do there, hasn't she? Caroline has spent the last 5 months researching it all. I think it's taken her a long time to come to terms with what she's actually seen. You cannot hide something that's 52 countries big. Kirsty, wake up and get with the programme, Han.
If you were so concerned about them, then I would have hoped that you would have written to me as the Minister to expose what you believe is being taught in Welsh schools at the moment.
Nothing said about what's being taught in Welsh schools at the moment. And to be honest with you, Kirsty, Caroline doesn't need to write to you, does she? Not when we've written to you as the Education Minister, and you couldn't be bothered to write back yourself. In actual fact, you wrote back when we asked your qualifications. You had some Steve Davis to write back and tell us that you were having the support of 5,000 civil servants, top researchers, this, that and the other. But a Freedom of Information request told us different. Come on, Kirsty. I think we are way ahead of you on this. And I think you're starting to lose it now, aren't you? You can't hide this forever. It's only a matter of time before people know the truth.
To be absolutely clear to members in this chamber, I am aware of the choice of the fellow travellers that Caroline Jones has chosen to align herself to at this time.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Fellow travellers, I'm not going to say any more on that. You all have your own opinion on that. And we'll have to deal with that in another way, guys, okay? Please don't take it to heart.
You know, it is a dangerous concoction of pernicious influences, baseless prejudice and paedophile conspiracies.
Baseless prejudice and paedophile conspiracies. Well, the thing is, if it was baseless, why have we got so many files of evidence? If it's baseless, how come this evidence is in 52 countries but you can't even be bothered to look at it? And paedophile conspiracies? I'm not going to say nothing on that. We all know the history of this, okay? We all know the history and it's been fought for decades. But let me just point something out to you now, Kirsty. You've been a politician a long time. You joined politics when you were 15. Do not tell me you have never heard of PIE. Paedophile Information Exchange. And if you bothered to look at these global documents up to in 2017, you would see pleasure, consent, okay, which are paedophile policies. They are PIE policies. Also, if you were also trained on it, you would know that these are excuses abusers use, okay? They say that children can consent. They say children get pleasure from it, okay? And they convince children that it's nice, okay? It's pleasurable and it's good for them. So, Kirsty, I think you all need to wake up on this. Now, this is a fact. There is no misinformation from us. And this is why you will not face us on the matter, okay? We carry the evidence with us. We've known about this since 2013. We've been waiting for it. We've watched it roll out. So you're either negligent or complicit. There's no two ways about it. You have not looked into this global rollout. And if it wasn't coming, why is it referenced in our documents?
And the way in which some of my colleagues here in this chamber have been addressed by those individuals, and you know what I'm talking about, is disgraceful, disgraceful.
Shall we just point out to the chair of the Education Committee the names that she's called us in sentences using our full names as well? Her attitude, what was her response to the RSE? She lied about it, first of all. She denied that there was no parental opt-out. Then when we found that letter, she backtracked. And then she said, oh, there wasn't a parental opt-out, but then she tried to fluff it up. And then when her constituents said they wouldn't support her in the election, if they didn't support her on this RSE, her response, which we have in writing, was, I'll take my chances. Is that a way a professional person is supposed to speak to the everyday person on the street? No. These women have been in politics for 20 years. 20 years. We are everyday people and we've had to polish up our act to fight this because this is serious. This is matter of fact. This is not conspiracy. This is there written in the documents. Their documents. Just because we found it and we know it better than them, don't hate on us for that, because we are doing what's right for the children of this country. It is not acceptable. It's not appropriate. You haven't got the answers, though we would love to have a chat with you. 20 minutes is all it'll take. 20 minutes, let us show the public. We'll ask you 5 questions, give you 4 minutes on each question. We'll destroy you in the first one, because what we are dealing with is fact. There is no conspiracy here, Kirsty, and I suspect that's why you're not hanging around to see it through.
To put up with it as the Minister, but I do not believe that other members of this chamber should also be subject to that kind of abuse, and you should distance yourself from it. You should distance yourself from it. You should distance yourself from it. The reality is, Laura, your experience is not unusual. You know, at best, I got my sex education from reading a Judy Blume book. At worst, it was a very well-thumbed copy of a Jackie Collins novel that passed its way around the classroom. But I have to tell you now, Presiding Officer, there are much more malign influences out there to our children to revert to now. The stuff that they can see at a click of a button is highly dangerous and detrimental to their well-being.
Let's just stop that right there. The stuff they can see at the click of a button. I have tagged Kirsty Williams in tweets of the stuff they'd encourage to see at the click of a button from the SNP's curriculum. Don't tell me, and I'm repeating myself again, don't tell me she hasn't become aware of schools in England asking children to click a button and research different types of porn. Okay? This stuff is in our schools already in the UK. Where's it going to end? Where is it going to end? When we're being shown chickens tied up for light bondage for prepubescent children that's just gone to comp, I think it's gone a step too far. And they think we're going to allow them to take away our parental rights, our right to protect. They have failed in the 20 years they've been in power. Show me what they've done to make improvements since the Waterhouse report. Because let me tell you something now, that wasn't historic, that was 2012, and I want to see what they've done since that report.
And we need to protect them, and we need to give them the knowledge and the information that what they see on that screen is not a reflection of what a healthy relationship is, or the manifestation of what a healthy sexual relationship is. We need to act. We need to act because Children of Wales are banking on us to act, and banking on us to have the courage to face down the misinformation.
This is my favourite part. This is my favourite part. The children of Wales are banking on us. They're banking on us. They're banking on us so much, like I said, she's not standing next year. First chance she gets, she's out of her. And she wants to see her through. They are banking on her. They're banking on her to last another 6 months. Really, Kirsty? Really?
To act and banking on us to have the courage to face down the misinformation. And Sian Gwenllian, I want to reassure you, I take very seriously the committee's recommendations around a public information campaign. Seriously the committee's recommendations around a public information campaign, because I recognise that there are parents out there who are indeed confused and scared because of the misinformation that is being spread, and we need.
Misinformation is being spread. It's printing their own documents. It's in mainstream media. What more do you want? This is not misinformation. They are hiding from it. They are hiding. This is a fact. Look on our website. Everything you see underlined on our website is a hyperlink, and it takes you straight through to the original source. We are not lying. We are not lying. We would never lie and kick up a fuss like this over nothing. We recognise the problems here in Wales, and since this campaign have started, we've recognised them far more. So we are working to change things, and we're going to change things for good, including teacher training.
What RSE in Wales will look like, and perhaps more importantly, what it won't include. And I give my commitment that that work will begin in the new year, so that we can.
So the campaign against us is going to be, they want to show you what RSE is going to look like, and more importantly, what it's not going to look like. Well, it's not being designed till 2022, is it, Kirsty? So how can you possibly do that? How can you possibly do that? And I'd love you to provide enough evidence to counteract the evidence in 52 countries. What you need to realise, Kirsty, is, okay, we haven't woke up one morning and started a campaign. We are just the newest campaign. These campaigns have been going on across the world for years, especially since that 2010 document, because that makes your blood run cold, doesn't it?
Go forward with some confidence. Presiding officer, for the first time in our nation's history, we have the opportunity to create a curriculum that has been made in Wales by our practitioners, to be delivered by our practitioners to our children. And Sian Gwenllian, there is no way that children in Wales will be able.
Made in Wales by our practitioner. Refer to UNESCO. Refer to UNESCO. We'll be using UNESCO. Schools will be encouraged. Schools will design their own curriculum, but they'll be encouraged to refer to UNESCO. Guys, this is a global rollout. How many times do we have to say it?
To escape from the story and the stories of Wales. There is no way, because we have accounted for that within our areas of learning and experience and our What Matters statement. But this is a chance. This is a chance for our children to be equipped with the skills, the knowledges and experiences that will ensure that when they leave our education system, they can be successful, happy, healthy, confident individuals that will take our nation forward. Because when we change our curriculum, we will indeed change our children, and we will change their futures. And when we do that, we change the destiny of this country.
There you go, guys. In their words, you have it, because they want to change the curriculum and they want to change the children in Wales. Well, the children in Wales are suffering. The maths is suffering. The maths has suffered since Welsh has become compulsory, and they do make compelling arguments for that. But at the end of the day, children need English. English is a strong language. You know, guys, it's a strong language worldwide, okay? They need to enhance their English. They need to enhance their maths. And most importantly, where has science gone? Where has science gone for the mandated subjects, which cover reproductive organs and cover biology? Because that's all these children need, is biology. So where's it gone, Kirsty? So there you have it, guys. That was our Education Minister's response to the RSE element of the curriculum bill. I've pointed out the differences in the documents to you guys, difference between the curriculum bill and the RSE draft, all right? So you heard her speak a lot about the curriculum that wasn't designed yet. You heard her speak about how she had the sex education from books as passed around the class. You heard her admit that porn is dangerous, but we've also got evidence that this is in England and it's also in Scotland. It's highly, it's highly encouraged in Scotland, which you've seen that. And like I said, I've tagged these politicians in these posts. They've had plenty of opportunity to address it and they've chosen not to. So what they're going to do now, guys, is they're going to launch a campaign against us, which I think will probably be emails through the schools, right? And they'll probably find something from Hub and PHSE. And if you want to fall for that, that's your issue, okay, guys? But this is a very serious matter. What are you going to believe? Are you going to believe an education minister that's been in politics since she was 15 years old, okay, and performs like that on this very serious subject? Or are you going to believe the evidence? Because on our webpage, on the Education, our Way page, everything that's underlined on there are original documents. We do have more emails as well, but you will find emails on there. You'll find screenshots of our emails. You will also find freedom of information requests. I just want to point this out, guys. I want to point this out one more time, okay? We are fighting with the truth. None of this is interpretation. It's all quotes and knowledge, okay? Quotes from their documents and knowledge, our knowledge on these subjects. We do not want to be fighting this in 10 years' time. We want to stop this now before it starts. We are not fighting sex education. We are not fighting safeguarding. We want more safeguarding. We want better education. We don't want this global nonsense, and we certainly don't want legislating against. Every single parent has a right to protect their child. It is also a children's right to be protected. Now, I know with no uncertainty whatsoever, there's as much abuse at home as what it is in institutions. You bring those statistics forward to me and you tell me otherwise, and I will show you stats that are not counted. I will show you problems with statistics, okay? I will show you plenty of cover-ups. We do not close doors on our children. If anything, we invest and open another avenue, because there are good and bad amongst us all, and where children are concerned, this is where we need to be vigilant. Okay, guys? This global education is not acceptable, and it is not coming to this country. So Kirsty, I'm glad you're leaving. I really am glad you're leaving. A lot more will be leaving as well, shortly after you. But I just want to end there now, and I want to put it to you. You want to challenge us? Face us. Do not manipulate our people. Do not lie to them anymore, and do not try to hide a 52-country global rollout, because the longer this goes on, the worse it's going to be for you lot. Because when the people in Wales know and see the truth for themselves, you've got no control over these global documents. You didn't author them. You didn't publish them. These have been in power a lot longer than you. These have been in existence and circulation a lot longer than you. We didn't even know you existed. We knew this existed before you. So, you've got no control over this. All you've got control over is how you treat the people and parents of Wales now. That's all you've got. Are you going to go out with a bit of dignity? Are you going to go out with a bit of dignity and integrity? Because right now you're going out, and this is not the kind of legacy you want to be leaving behind. Like I said, this is 52 countries wide. You've got no control over this. This has been around a long time. It's only a matter of time before the people know the truth. The longer it goes on, the worse it's going to be for you all in the Senedd. Merry Christmas, guys, and I look forward to that campaign in the new year.